Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and Harry Kane in a swap deal for Manchester United is the story of the morning. We broke this last night on the 8 o'clock show that Harry Kane has asked to leave Spurs, and the real sort of interpretation was, well, is he what Manchester United should be looking at? Well, whether we think that's right or wrong, it appears that Manchester United are very much in the race for him. We'll be talking about Harry Kane, also two centre defensive midfield options that United have been linked with, right back race as well, and also what else was I wanted to talk about as well, a few other things as well. But first of all, let's just start off with standing in the Hall of Fame, yeah, do, and the world's gonna know your name. Eric Cantona has been added to the Premier League Hall of Fame. Now, they opened it up a couple of weeks ago, didn't they, with Shearer and Thierry Henry, which I didn't necessarily agree with, but we always knew other people would be added to the list, and Eric Cantona has been added to the Premier League Hall of Fame, and he had some very interesting things to say. He said, I've been lucky to play in the team with wonderful players and wonderful manager and wonderful fans. I'm very happy and very pleased, but at the same time not surprised. I would have been surprised not to be elected. Good old Eric. And he said, we've got nearly 30 players who could have been elected at United, but with me it's different. If you have to elect one, it's me. The other ones are all great. Me, I am exceptional. I played football. I loved football. I dreamed about football as a kid. Playing in England was a dream. I was a dream for everybody playing for the Premier League. I mean, he's arrogant, Cantona, but that's absolutely fine. And he's now in the Premier League Hall of Fame. So smash a like on the video for King Eric. I want to talk about I want to talk about Harry Kane, obviously, but I've got to say I'm not going to deviate from where I was when Shearer and Henry came out. I personally think Roy Keane should have been the first Man United player to be in the Hall of Fame. He's the most decorated Premier League captain. And look, I remember Cantona coming into the club, and it's close. You know, we couldn't win a title. Cantona came in, and he was a bit like what Bruno's done to this team. He took the team to the next level. He made us win the Premier League. But he didn't win the Champions League with us. He'd gone by then. And I think Roy Keane, over his career, was almost like Sir Alex Ferguson on the pitch. He's got to be in the Hall of Fame very, very soon. Because for me, it's very close between Cantona and Keane, and I would go with Keane. So Roy Keane should be in there very, very soon, and I'm surprised he hasn't got it yet. But he should be in there very soon. But Cantona's got to go in there. I don't think anybody can be unhappy about that. So well done to Eric Cantona. He's so arrogant, and we love him. Okay, let's get on with the transfer news. We're going to talk about Harry Kane. Harry Kane, Cantona. I'm getting mixed up with the cans. Kane. Right, Kane, Harry Kane. Little bit more in the morning. I mean, this is going to develop. Last night he's handed a transfer request in effectively publicly. He's done that. There's a few permutations here. Now, David Ornstein, very good journalist, he was on Sky last night saying, look, Harry Kane wants to leave. He's dropped enough hints about wanting to win major trophies. He can't do that at Spurs, so he's basically saying he wants to leave. He does want to go, and the opportunity to go is going to run out because he's going to be 28 this summer. But he said, I don't think he will go this summer. The Athletic have also expanded on that and said, look, maybe there'll be an agreement, a little bit like the Flex is going to the game, so we'll have some coverage and a road trip. Rather swap Rashford for Martial, says A. Well, let's talk about that. So basically, the Athletic are saying that they might do a Ronaldo with Harry Kane and say, look, give us one more year. Next summer, we'll let you go. There'll be a more vibrant market and you can go next summer with a couple of years left on your deal. That's what the Athletic are saying might happen. However, there is also my belief that something is going on here, because I don't think Harry Kane lets that go public if he hasn't got an option to go somewhere. And I think there must be an option there. And I think Spurs must be aware of what that option is and not opposed to that option, because otherwise this would have just got shut down. I think that United are interested because I think that he is a world-class striker, like I said last night, and I think you've got to be interested in that when you know that we probably do need a world-class striker because Cavani will be gone in a year. But I think Man City are probably interested, Chelsea will be interested, and a few other clubs would be interested. Now, what the Athletic are saying, and what a few outlets are saying, that is that Daniel Levy will value Harry Kane at 150 million. But you can knock that down to 120 million if you're going to chuck some players in. Now, Man United could chuck Anthony Martial into the equation. They could put Jesse Lingard in. But I think you've got to get real in the world of transfers to understand that if you said to Spurs, we'll give you Lingard and Martial for Kane, it's not as simple as saying, well, right, how much are you going to give us in cash? We want 90 million. Well, hold on a minute. Lingard's worth 20. Martial's worth 40. come on, you got to drop the price down more than that. But also, it doesn't. So you could give them Martial and Lingard and pay them 90 million. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. I know that's probably about right. But look at Lingard, what he's done at West Ham. Look at what Martial did last year. That's and 90 million for a 28-year-old who, let's be honest, is starting to pick up a few injuries. So I don't think that would be a good business for Man United. But I also don't think it would be good business for Spurs, because Harry Kane's meant to be on about 200k a week. Jesse Lingard's on about 100, 120. Martial's on about 250. So you get rid of Kane and he's £200,000 a week, and then you're paying £350,000 a week for Martial and Lingard. So it's not a good business deal for Spurs. So I don't see a Lingard Martial for Kane. I don't see that happening, because I don't think it works for us, and I don't think it works for Spurs. I think Man United could well offer something like 100 million plus Anthony Martial, and I think that's something that they might do. And then you can hide behind the fact that, look, Martial's a striker and he's gone. Harry Kane's a striker and he comes in. We've got Cavani and Kane. They could look at doing that. And I just don't want us to do it. I've got to be honest. And this is only my opinion. This is a news show, so I will feed you what the news is. But I don't want us to do it. Martial for Kane and 100 million, that's our summer transfer window budget gone. And we still don't have a right winger. We still don't have a midfielder. We still don't have a centre-back. So I don't think it works. But what I would say is, and I've got to be clear here, this is not Glazer-nomics. This is not about the Glazers or Ed Woodward who's about to leave. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants a striker. Like, whether you're Ollie in, Ollie out, Ollie shake, it's all about. He prioritised a striker for this summer until Cavani decided to stay. He wants a striker. He looks at that team and he goes, I need a striker. I personally back Ollie and I want him to do well, but I totally disagree that the striker should be a priority. But Solskjaer, it's not been kept quiet over the last few months. He prioritises a striker. So United could well go and spend a lot on Harry Kane, which I think is a big mistake, but we could well do it. You can't discount United going in for Harry Kane. I just think it's a mistake, and I think that, we're trying to, as I said last night, Harry Kane's the icing on the cake for Man City and Chelsea. He's the icing on the cake for us, but we haven't built a cake. We haven't baked a cake. So it's a bit like that song. If I knew Kane was coming, I'd have baked a cake, baked a cake. Baked a cake. If I knew Kane was coming, I'd have baked a cake. But we haven't baked a cake, so don't let him in. The key signing for benching McFred is Sancho. He will play on the right. Ollie's golden boy Rashford on the left. And with fans back in the ground, they won't allow Ollie to have Pogba on the bench, as being at Ben Anderson. That's a good point. That's if Pogba stays. But look, Harry Kane's a fantastic signing. He's a world-class player. He's probably the best striker in the world for me. Certainly in the equation. You can't say don't buy him because he's a bad player. I think people are saying don't buy him because we need to spend that money elsewhere. So let's just see what happens. But look, United, I think that and also, can I just say the flip side? If I was Spurs, £100 million and Anthony Martial, I'd bite our hand off. I really would, because Anthony Martial's in his mid-20s. He wants to play as a number 9 at a club. I don't think he'd do badly at Spurs, and I think that with 100 million to spend as well, I don't think that would be a bad deal for Spurs at all. If you resign to the fact that Harry Kane's going, you could do a lot worse than get Anthony Martial and 100 million quid. And I know a lot of people will say, well, we don't want Martial, he's shit. And there'll be a lot of United fans saying, get rid of Martial, he's shit. I think, if Spurs got Martial as a United fan, hand on heart, I think it'd be a good deal. I do think it'd be a good deal. I mean, they're talking about Jesus from City in the same way, but I don't want Martial to leave. But if he did go, it would be a good deal for Spurs. But we'll see what happens with that. I mean, I'll repeat what I said last night about Harry Kane. I want this to get resolved really quickly. Either stay at Spurs or make the move, but don't drag it out, because I don't think this is the right deal for United, and I certainly don't want all summer to be about Harry Kane and United, because I just think it's the wrong deal at the wrong time, and I think that we need to be linked to other things. So let's see. Dale says he thinks that Kane will go for 90 million. I think you're having a laugh, Dale. I really do. I said last night, over £100 million easily. Easily. Hi Mark, says Zebrin. Hi pal. If Levy is relaxed about it, he obviously is looking at a club outside of the Premiership, because he won't sell to a Premier League rival, PSG maybe, says David Bratton. Well, as I said, I've got no inside information on this, other than a few conversations I've had over the last few months. And I'm speaking to somebody tomorrow who might have a bit of insight, actually. So we'll see about that, and I'll try and get them on camera. They're a very good person to speak to about Harry Kane, actually. Real Madrid. People keep saying to me Real Madrid and Harry Kane. I don't see how that happens, but we'll see. Anyway, Llorente news, Mark. I'm not aware of any Llorente news, but I'll have a look for you. What I am aware of is that in the CDM position, some quite interesting developments coming out around the centre defensive midfield position, and Basuma looking to go to Arsenal, which is very, very interesting. And the French 26-man squad for the Euros is about to be announced tonight, by the way. So it'll be interesting to see if Anthony Martial makes it into that. Keep your eye out for that later on. That's probably going to come out whilst we're live doing the watch-along. Got a watch-along tonight, haven't we, for Fulham? So we'll see what happens with that. But Basuma to Arsenal for £35 million is a story that's floating around this morning. I mean, look... There's no point getting frustrated with Manchester United in the transfer window. Marca is saying that we definitely are in for Arambari from Getafe, who is the Uruguayan. Is he Uruguayan? I'm getting mixed up with people so much now. I think Arambari, I think, is Uruguayan. He's 25, isn't he? Torreira. He's a bit like Torreira. He's Uruguayan. So apparently we are linked with him for about 20 million quid. But I just don't get it. I don't get why you do that. And look, look. We love United. Most of us love Ollie. We want him to do well. But it doesn't mean that he's going to do the things we want to do. And I think that if Arsenal are getting Basuma for 35 million and we're going to get Arambari for 20 million, all that is to me is saving money. That's not about building a team to win a title. Because I don't care how good Arambari is. Basuma's tearing it up in the Premier League and he's Premier League proven. So why would you go for Arambari over Basuma? It doesn't make any sense unless it's just money-saving exercise again. I have not seen or heard of this Arambari being scouted by anybody other than Spurs 18 months ago. He is not a hidden gem in La Liga. He's a good player, but he's not a hidden gem. Basuma, 35 million, Arambari 20 million. Come on, we're Manchester United trying to win a bloody Premier League. Go and get Basuma. It's so obvious what a quality player he is and how he can play at the highest level. United should be in for Basuma. It pisses me off that we don't go in for those sort of players. I think Arsenal have bought well over the last 2 years, probably better than us. I thought Pepe was a good signing, Partey was a good signing, Gabriel was a good signing, Czerny was a good signing. I just think the fact that the rest of the team's shit means that it's hard to prosper at Arsenal. But eventually they're going to start getting things right because I think they are buying the right sort of players. United should be in for Basuma. Liverpool and Arsenal are linked to Basuma. We're not even linked to him. He's exactly what we need in that midfield. I mean, I've seen him a lot this season anyway, but he plays in a team with Potter that is very, very expansive, very, very confident on the ball. They don't care about receiving the ball in a difficult situation. I mean, you look at Fred against Liverpool last week, receives the ball on the edge of his box, shits himself, we concede a goal. How many times has that happened this season? You watch Brighton, Basuma receives that in the same position. He's confident, one-touch pass, finds his way out. So he's good on the ball. He plays in a team that plays expansive possession-based football. And also, as we saw between Brighton and Man United, he absolutely pocketed Bruno in a more defensive position. So I think that Basuma would be a great signing for United. Very frustrated that we're not in for him. And I do worry about this Arambari because I think, well, are we just in for him because he's cheap? Because nobody really knows anything about him. He's not been headhunted by any big clubs. He's 25. He just looks to me like, oh, he'll do a job. He's quite cheap. And look, he'll probably do a better job than McTominay and Fred, and I really hope that he is a hidden gem. But come on, there's players staring us right in the face that we should be looking for. We're trying to win a league. We're not trying to go, oh, he might be good. Because this could be another bloody Longstaff. Oh, he might be good. Martial is one of our best players. He's press resistant and holds the ball so well. We played through him versus City and needs more like Martial, says A. And why are we even looking at forward options? Defensive midfield and centre-back is what we need. Greenwood can develop as a right-wing forward, says Siddharth. Well, I do think that Greenwood will develop as a striker. So, I think we should be looking at something a little bit different there. I see Greenwood as a striker. Zach says Basuma is not a CDM and supports Arsenal. Harry Kane supports Arsenal and not Spurs. Absolutely irrelevant, I don't know what you're talking about. In fact, can I just apologise for reading out that shit comment? Sometimes they will find their way through. Cantona inducted to Premier League Hall of Fame, says Scott Bolter, who is a member. I'd expect better review, Scott. We've been live for over 10 minutes and we've spoken about Cantona for about 5 minutes. You're late. Don't let it happen again. Mark, Kane can do a better job than McTominay at CDM, says Annie, and nothing wrong with a bargain if it works, says Steve Locke. Yeah, I agree with you, Steve, but look, Bissouma's a bargain. And also, we could do a deal with Brighton because we could give them Ghana for a season. Mark, shout Dogcoin to the moon, says H. I don't do any of that Bitcoin stuff. And why would Kane even come here for major trophies, says Nacho. Well, I said that last night. I mean, realistically, if Harry Kane wants to win trophies, why is he coming to Man United? Having said that, we might just... Scott, it's all right, I'm only joking. We might just nick the Europa League in a couple of weeks. And also, we may as well... Harry Kane doesn't win anything at Spurs. So, when he says he wants to win trophies, he might mean the Carabao Cup. So... We want Glazers out. We want Harry Kane out. We want Harry Kane, says Ant. And I mean, look. Last night I was quite passionate about it. This morning I'm more relaxed about it because you've had time to think about it. But I still stand by what I said last night about Harry Kane. I don't really understand. I mean, this is the brilliance of football. It is, because everyone's got a different opinion, and I embrace that because that's what football should be about. But I can only express my opinion. I'm absolutely amazed by how many people want Harry Kane. People I really like and respect saying, how can you not want Harry Kane? Because I desperately want this team to build a team, is why. I've been supporting United for well over 30 years, and the reality is I've seen success and I've seen failure. And one of the things that runs through the success of Sir Alex Ferguson is his ability to build a team. Whether it's the team in 94, whether it's the team in 99, whether it's the team in 2008, whether it's the team in 2012. He builds teams. And there's been teams in between then as well that got close to titles but didn't quite make it. He knew how to build a team. There's no way Sir Alex Ferguson with this United side would go and say, spend a lot on Harry Kane. He wouldn't do it because he knows you've got to build a team. And that team has got no midfield. It's got no winger. And it's got no good centre-back pairing. There's no way Sir Alex Ferguson, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp would go, spend a lot on Harry Kane. Which is what disappoints me about some of our fan base on this. Because I love Harry Kane. I think he's a fantastic player. But I'm fully aware that will not lead us to success. It's a hype signing. It's a hype signing. It's like, we've got Harry Kane. He scores goals. We're going to win the league. And it's like, Man City have just won the league because they've not because they've got a great 11. They've just won the league because they've got a great 17. But let's spend everything on Harry Kane and go, we're going to win the league. One player. You've got to build a team. Personally, I prefer no transfers this summer and the Glazers out by this time next year, says Simran. Well, that's not going to happen. We will be buying players this summer. I think the interesting thing is the Glazers will spend money. How they spend that money will be very interesting because, they could spend money. They could get a few of you to go, I'm buying the shirts, and that's what they want. But they might not spend money in the way that's good for the club. Will they spend money on Old Trafford? I doubt it. Will they spend money on structure? I doubt it. Will they spend a load of money on a player that's going to sell a load of shirts? Of course they will. Because a lot of you will go, yes, you'll buy the shirt. And in a year, 2 years, you'll be back moaning again. And some of us will say, look, we told you so. We told you so. These signings that they're making this summer, they're just simply short-term signings to get shirts sold, to get you back on side. Are they? If they're serious, I would lay this down right now. If the Glazers are serious about reforming this football club, this summer would be about building a football team. If they just want to con people and get them back signing shirts and get back into a comfortable position where they can rip everybody off again, they'll buy Kane or they'll buy Sancho and that'll be it. If they're seriously about reforming the club, this summer we'll get a centre-back, a CDM and a right winger. If it's just about short-term, get the fans back on side, stop the protests, get the shirts bought, please the sponsors, Harry Kane's exactly the sort of signing that they'll do. Hi Mark, do you think the board will use Greenwood at right wing as an excuse to buy Kane and not Sancho, and this would help Ahmad in the long run, says Aditya? I think that they'll buy Harry Kane because they want to sell shirts and they want to please their sponsors and they want to stop the protests. If they're a serious football club, look, I think we're going round and round in circles and there's more transfer stuff to talk about. But as I said before, I would love Man United fans to actually switch their head on and look at what is successful these days. Bayern Munich are successful because they've got a strong team and a strong bench. PSG have been successful because they've got a strong team and a strong bench. Chelsea are now successful because they've got a strong team and a strong bench. And Man City are the best team in Europe because they've got a strong team and a strong bench. There is absolutely no way that the owners of Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern Munich would say, let's blow the lot on Harry Kane. If they were in charge of United, they would build a team. Nobody has ever built a team at United since Sir Alex Ferguson, and we're coming up for 10 years. Not one manager has built a team. Is that because of the manager or is that because of the owners? I'd say it's because of the owners, but there is a real reluctance to build a team. They brought Paul Pogba in. Oh, look at Pogba, Adidas. Pogba on the back of the shirt. Bling, 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 bling. Never bought anybody else to accompany him for 4 years. Like, they don't build teams, and football is about teams. And this is the summer where they need to build a team. And I'm hearing more and more about one iconic marquee signing. That's all they're interested. Oh, we don't want to build a team. It takes too long. It's too expensive. Just buy a marquee signing again. Get the shirts sold. Sign Sancho. Get the piano out again. Sign Kane and write a song. Are they going to build a team? This is what United fans are protesting for. They want the team to win things. They want a team to be built. Fed up of having the wool pulled over our eyes to these marquee signings that actually you scratch the surface and it's not going to lead to trophies. If I was Harry Kane, I wouldn't sign for Man United. Bollocks, I wouldn't sign for Man United. Harry, if you're watching, don't sign for United. You're not going to win anything here because all they're going to do is sign you. That's it. 100 and something million, that's it. We ain't spending anything else. So we need to build a team. And that's why I don't want Harry Kane, because Harry Kane is not a team. He's a fantastic player, but he's not a team. He's not a centre defensive midfielder. He's not a centre back. He's not a creator. He's a fantastic player, but he will not make us win a title because you can't do that on your own anymore. Messi could come to United, we wouldn't win the title. Ronaldo could come, we wouldn't win the title. Gone are the days where one player can make you win a title now. You know, this ain't the 86 World Cup with Maradona. You can't do that now. Been saying this for about 8 months. Really noticed it a year ago, Champions League final, Bayern Munich, PSG. Looked at the benches of both teams and went, shit. This is a squad game now. This is not about having a great first 11. These teams have got great benches. And now we've seen it in the Premier League. Man City, Chelsea, fantastic benches. One player ain't going to win you the title now. In midfield, we should go for Rice or Calvin Phillips, says Mehdi. Well, there's plenty of options, definitely. If we can complete for Haaland next year, why would we go for Kane? Also, Mark, what do you think of looking at Osman as an alternative for Haaland, says Owen HP. And we don't need any attacking players if our forwards get the service they deserve. Imagine, says RTB. Aaron Barry is good with tackling. He has good long shots and he's similar to McFred but can't pass. But he is weak aerially. Do we need an unproven player? Thought, says Amit. Mate, if we're going for Aaron Barry, that's just a cheap signing. It's a risk. I hope it works, but if we're going for Aaron Barry, there's about 6 players I can think of in the Premier League that we could get this summer that are going to be, safer bets for around the same price as well. Can United afford Kane realistically? Need a centre-back and a CDM more than a striker and maybe a CDM, says Aben Manu. Well, we can afford Kane. We can afford Kane, but we won't be able to afford anything else. We won't be able to afford anything else. I even saw somebody saying last night, and let me just kill this dead, because you will get people now going, well, Chelsea are going to give Spurs Abraham, Hudson-Odoi, Reece James and somebody else. I don't know. I don't support Chelsea, but they're going to do this. Well, United, we could get Kane for like 30 million if we give them David De Gea, Martial and Lingard. Well, you know what? Oh, that sounds interesting, because I think they've had enough of Lloris anyway. Give them De Gea, give them Martial, give them Lingard, and we'll get Kane in the return. And I think, well, maybe that could work. Maybe that could work. But straight away, it can't work. And the reason it can't work is it's not because the value of the players. At the end of the day, you could probably say De Gea 50 million, Martial 50 million, Lingard 20 million. We'll give you those 3 players for Harry Kane. No money changes hands. You could do that. But Spurs will be bankrupt very, very quickly because Harry Kane's on 200k a week. David De Gea's on 375. Martial is on 250. And Lingard is on 100. So that's nearly £700,000 a week in wages. They can't afford that for 3 players, even if they do swap him for Kane. So those sort of things can't happen. Glazers think Tom Brady logic works in football, says Arpan. Well, that's a very good point from Arpan. And what if the Glazers do think that one good player wins you the title? Because I tell you what, no. Tom Brady system does not work. And also, to be fair, I did watch the Super Bowl, but I haven't really been into NFL for quite a while. I think that Tampa Bay did bring some other players in that weren't as high profile as Tom Brady. I wanted to mention centre-back and right winger. Also, if we sign Kane, that will be the only signing we will make in the summer. Is that what we want? Says Aben Manya. Yeah, well, I think we just mentioned that, didn't we? Talking about signings, there is a young lad, I think, hopefully I'll get this right, Kamadine Sulemana who's playing at FC Northland. He's 19. Apparently we're in competition with Ajax to sign him. He's Ghanaian striker, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Kane is a creator, says Fuad. Yeah. And I'm now just gonna pull you up on that. What is your point? Do you actually understand what Harry Kane is? Like, when you say he's a creator, what are you getting at here? I'm intrigued. Please expand. What are you talking about when you say Harry Kane is a creator? Harry Kane gets goals and he gets assists as a number 9. He's not a number 10. He's not a box-to-box midfielder, and he's not a winger. He's a number 9. He scores goals and he creates goals, and his fluidity and partnership with Son is something to behold, and his passing is fantastic. But he's a number 9. We need a midfielder, and we need a centre-back, and we need a winger. He is none of those things. So, and let's not forget what happened with Manchester United against Liverpool. Our striker got no service. A lot of the time this season, our striker has got no service. We need to build a team. One player is not going to, whether it's Jadon Sancho, Harry Kane, Declan Rice, Raphael Varane, if you buy one of those, forget about it. We need 2 or 3 of those players. And I don't care what 3 we get out of Kane, Rice, Varane, Sancho, but if you are seriously wanting to win a title, you get 3 of those 4. Varane, Rice, Sancho, Kane. And preferably, it's got to be Varane and Rice and one of the others out of Sancho and Kane. 3 of those 4, then we'll talk. If you want to seriously make Manchester United a contender for a title, it's as simple as this. Varane, Rice, Sancho, Kane, buy 3 of them. And Varane and Rice have to be the 2. Pick out a Sancho and Kane. Simple as that. No conversations. Only in my opinion, of course, but no conversations. If we are serious about winning a league title any time in the next 2 or 3 years, this summer, serious about giving half of the club to the fans. If you are serious about these things, 3 out of these 4, Varane, Rice, Kane, Sancho, and 2 of the 3 has to be Varane and Rice. Go and do it. But they won't. They'll do 1, and it'll probably be Sancho or Kane. Shirt sales. We bought Van Persie to win the league, just saying, says Liam Devon Red. Liam Devon Red, I'm just going to say you're talking out your arse. You can't drop in different circumstances and make it fit now. You're putting a square peg into a round hole. That team that had Van Persie in it lost the title on the last day on goal difference. What do we need to do, Liam? Maybe buy a striker? You know, we lost the league on goal difference. So Sir Alex Ferguson went and bought one of the best strikers in the league. That is not comparable to being bloody miles off the title with more holes than a bloody hedgehog's lilo and saying, let's do what we did in 2012. It doesn't work. You know, somebody said to me yesterday, Goldbridge is moaning about spending £120 million on Harry Kane, but last year he said spend £120 million on Sancho. And I'm like, what's the IQ of some people? Why are you comparing Van Persie added to an already brilliant team to Harry Kane added to a team that's got the holes in it? Why are you comparing wanting to spend £120 million on Sancho last summer to buying Kane this summer? Totally different circumstances last year, totally different circumstances this year. And I think if you can't see where United need to spend money, Specsavers is open. Morning, Mark. We are desperate for a proper number 9 and have been for years. We can fund a centre-back and a CDM by selling a few like Martial, Mata and Matic, etc., says Cardius. Well, I think the interesting thing will be what Manchester United's actual spend is going to be this summer. But my concern is that we are going to spend the vast majority. I mean, look, the thing that concerns me, and look, I know I'm getting animated again, and this is what happens when I get passionate. So, look, apologies if people don't like being pulled up on things. It's only my opinion. And Liam's not a prat. Liam's a bit of a legend because he got me going. And I like it. I like it when we get passionate. So I don't think Liam's a prat. He's got an opinion. I'm just saying that's my opinion. And somebody else might have a different opinion. A lot of people might agree with Liam. But what gets me going is this. We don't like the Glazers as owners of Manchester United. There's no United fan that likes the Glazers as Man United owners. We're all united on that, which is a rarity because it's a very divided fan base and it always has been. We're all united about we don't want the Glazers in charge. But I think we can all be united on what the Glazers are. They bought us on debt. They're not United fans. They're not football fans. They want money. And you can't go to bed after the European Super League gets cancelled and wake up the next day and go, maybe they're not that bad. Maybe they're not that bad. Maybe deep down they've got Eric Cantona posters on their wall and they're watching them, your 99 DVD 3 times a day. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're rich businessmen who want to make money. Now, the problem with that is they've been here 16 years. A letter, attending a meeting, 16 years is far more evidence than letters that come out because you got caught. It's like a criminal or a bully or a greedy person that's been like that for 16 years and then they get caught and then they have to apologise. Do you believe that they've changed, or do you think they've just been caught and they're trying to pretend they've changed? I think the Glazers are terrified of what's happening with all the protests and all the sponsors and everything that you're doing at the moment. They're terrified. What do they need to do to change that? They need to get positivity back. What's the best way of doing that? Spend a load of money on one player. The most high-profile signing you can do. If they could get Messi, they'd do it. If they could get Ronaldo, they would do it. We can't get those players. Let's get Sancho or let's get Kane. It's not about building a team. It's about what's the quickest way to get everybody back on side. What's the quickest way to stop people targeting sponsors, stop people protesting? The quickest way to do that is to buy the most high-profile player you can. So my concern is they're not going to build a team. They're just going to buy the biggest shirt-selling player they can and hopefully in the process beat Man City or Chelsea or Real Madrid to that signing like we did with Pogba and then go, look how good we are. And then 4 years later, we're like, remember when we bought Kane and we didn't add anybody else? Remember when we bought Sancho and we didn't add anybody else? They've got form for buying one good player and then not building a team. And I keep saying it today, you've got to build a team. It's not just the 3 players we bring in, it's also the players we remove from the club. It's just important. Watchers give Mata a deal, says Ben Anderson. Yeah, it's the whole package, Ben. What if the Glazers did a madness this season? Kane, Sancho, CDM and a centre-back. Would that buy them time with you, says Shane? No, I think they should do that. I don't think that's like, high five the Glazers. If they went and bought those 4 players that you've just said, Varane, Rice, Sancho, Kane, I would put my hands up honestly and say that's what should have been happening for a long time. That is a first step. Now follow through by giving up half of the club or selling half of the club and putting fans on the board and things like that. It would be a first step. And it's a minimum. It's a minimum. That's what they should be doing. I guarantee they won't. I don't like how everyone is describing Martial. One bad season, I still think he's good. Martial scores if he gets service. How to do that? Get a CDM, says Sakin. Mate, I'm still in the Martial club. I still like Martial. I still think he's a fantastic player. I think he's had a very bad season. Very bad season. Inexcusable in many ways how bad it's been. But I still think he's one of my favourite players. Pratik says, I fear Kane is someone Glazers would go after rather than any CDM and centre-back. We need to get our squad weakness sorted out and Greenwood's future, so Kane is just a time buyout signing for players, says Glazers. Well, I mean, I've said it before, Pratik. Greenwood's a generational talent. He's not a right winger. He's a centre-forward. So, one of the things that excited me about Cavani staying for another year was that it's perfect for Greenwood. Football's all about timing. If you're good enough, you'll force anybody out of the team, but be very hard for Greenwood to force Kane out of the team if we spend over £100 million on him and he's going to be here for 5 years. That's terrible for Greenwood's development because we've already seen what Ollie's like. With a favourite, he'll keep picking them. So it wouldn't matter how good Greenwood was. I think Kane would get picked all the time and then Greenwood wouldn't be the number 9. With Cavani, we know Cavani picks up injuries. You know that Greenwood's going to get opportunities with him and Martial, and I think in a year's time, Greenwood could be our number 9. So, yeah, I do agree with that. Don't worry, guys. Kane is coming to Burnley. He's going to be penetrating force with my wood. I am the daddy, says Sean Dyche. I would do the impression, but my throat's a bit sore today. Just on Athletic, they were mentioning Kieran Trippier and Everton. It appears that Everton are desperate for a right-back because we've been linked to Max Aarons and so have Everton, and now Trippier and so Everton. So Everton are definitely looking at a right-back. United looking at a backup right-back. As I've said, I'll keep saying this. Let's see what happens. I personally think that Trippier is probably the most likely signing that United will make this summer. Doesn't mean it's our best signing, and it won't be our best signing. It won't be our biggest signing. It probably won't even be our third biggest signing. But if I was a betting person on transfers, which I'm not, I think Trippier will be wearing a Manchester United shirt next summer. This summer, at some point. I think he's going to come back from Madrid, and I think United will go for Trippier based on Telles. Telles is a more experienced left back. He's given competition for Luke Shaw and it's benefited. I think Wan-Bissaka is still quite a young centre back, quite a young right back, and I think an experienced right back is what they'll want. And there's nothing wrong with Max Aarons, but he's not an experienced right back. So I think that we will go for an experienced right back to push Wan-Bissaka, and I think Trippier fits that category. How often does Kane drop in at number 10? He's not the answer, although good player. Need a CDM centre-back, Varane and Ndidi, please, says Ramnish. And the Glazers have truly won. Appointing Ollie was their masterstroke. Brace yourselves for many more years of failure and Ollie's apologism, says Andre. And Mark, we need a CDM, and my choice will be someone like Alan from Everton and defender Godfrey, says Gareth. I tell you what, we talk about Leicester. We talk about Leicester's recruitment policy, and it's fantastic. I mean, Samari's going there. I think they're now looking at a replacement for Vardy, and they're looking at the lad from Celtic. Is it Edouard or something like that? Fofana and Didi. So many good players that they've brought into that football club. But let's not forget, Everton ain't bad either. And I know that James Rodriguez hasn't probably worked, but it works for a club like Everton to take a risk on a player like that. But Alan, what a signing. Godfrey from Norwich, what a signing. They've been very good in the transfer market, Everton, and quietly going about their business. Top West Ham sources have said we want 110 to 120 million for Rice, and he would also be the last player sold. How much do United think they will get him for, says Doug. Well, I've heard this before, Doug, about, I don't know why I've gone Scottish, but I've heard this before, that West Ham want 100 million for Declan Rice. If they want 100 million pounds for Declan Rice, jog on. You know, I think Declan Rice is a 60 million pound player. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, that's what he is. If they want 100 million pounds, jog on. Yeah, forget it. And, you know, Declan Rice might want to have a word with West Ham about that, because does Declan Rice want to spend his career at West Ham? If he does, happy days. If you want to go and play Champions League football, mate, and I think you're ready, then you need to have a word with West Ham's owners, because that's a bloody joke. 100 million pounds, you're having a bloody laugh. He's a good player, I really do like him, but he's not 100 million pounds, mate. Never in a million years. I often think the Glazers and Kroenke speak to each other about how to run their clubs. Both clubs are the same, except United just have Bruno, says Vinnet. Well, I mean, I don't want to wander down that road, Vinnet, but this is what it works quite well in relation to Harry Kane. Harry Kane's a fantastic player, but if you add him into United's team, he won't win us the title on his own. And I think, you know, conversely, if you took Bruno Fernandes out of the United side, where would we be? I think Man United without Bruno would be down with, maybe not as far as Arsenal, but I certainly think we'd be amongst Everton and Spurs and Villa, around that sort of area. You know, 60 points maybe, 58 points. You know, we wouldn't have, we'd be 12 points worse off without Bruno, easily. I mean, look, you compare the points we won last season from when Bruno came in, which was halfway through the season, to the points we had without Bruno. People can say, "Oh, you're talking out your arse. You just love Bruno." But the facts are there. The points accumulation since Bruno's been in this team is ridiculous compared to what it was like without him. So, United without Bruno take 12 points off at least. You could even probably take 18 off. But let's say we take 12 off. We're down there with Spurs. So, one player. It just shows you one player's not the thing. You need to build a team. We don't need Kane, get Sancho, Varane, CDM and even a right back if we got some loose change, then activate Haaland's release clause next summer to replace Cavani, says Ernest. I mean, it's a lot of people talk about Haaland. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I don't think United will get Haaland next summer. I think he will be so cheap that people will just go massively in for him. And I suppose I can sort of see where Spurs might want to keep Harry Kane for another year, because everyone will go for Haaland, but not everyone can get Haaland, and then there's Kane. One of City or Chelsea will lose in the Champions League final. Loss will be due to a lack of a world-class striker. The loser will go hard for Kane or PSG because of Poch, says Shantano. An argument to get a backup for Bruno then, says Steve Locke. Well, apparently we've got a backup for him, haven't we? But we'll see. Mark, why did Ollie let Ander go, says Fabs Wazza. Somebody just said that didn't make any sense, because you're basically saying that United are a one team with Bruno, And if you're taking Bruno out of the team, you'd lose 12 points. Then surely if you add Harry Kane to the team, you could add another 12 points. I mean, look, I can see why you might interpret it that way. The point wasn't that. The point was that you can't win a title with one player. You know, you can take Bruno out of this team and we would drop to Spurs, but there's a ceiling. There's a ceiling, and if you listen to the whole show, my point has always been that if you want to win the Premier League and you want to win the Champions League now, you can't do it with one player. You can get second, and we've done that with Bruno, definitely, I agree, but you can't just add Harry Kane and expect to add another 12 points. That's not going to happen. You cannot win titles with one player now. You've got to have a team. Man City haven't won that title because of Kevin De Bruyne. Man City would have won that title without Kevin De Bruyne. 100%. They haven't won that title because of Kevin De Bruyne. They haven't won it because of Sergio Aguero. They haven't won it because of Ruben Diaz. Because Ruben Diaz could have broken his leg and they still would have had Laporte and Stones. De Bruyne gets injured. You can still play Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, Rodri. They've got loads of options. They've got Sterling on the wing. They've got Foden on the wing. They've got Mahrez. Bernardo Silva can play out there as well. They've got Jesus. They've got so many top quality players. They've built a team. That's how you win a title now. You build a team. And look, especially in the season we've just had where you're playing a game every 3 days for 8 months. You've got to have a team. United need to build a team. I would love in a year's time to buy... I mean, look, what if Kane stays at Spurs? Is a scenario for you. This is a scenario I'd buy into. Spurs say to Kane, we'll let you go next summer. 1 more year and we'll let you go. And we'll let you go for a reasonable price. Just give us 1 more year, right? United know that. They also know Haaland's available and Kane's available. Right, next summer is all about a top striker. This summer, build the team. You know, this club talks about the future planning, winning a title in 3 years. Right here, right now, is the opportunity for this club to show that it's planning to win a title. I would say next summer, we go big on a top striker. If Kane's still at Spurs, go for it. If Haaland's available, go for it. But not this summer. This summer should be get the centre-back, get the CDM, get the right winger, build the team, and then when Cavani goes next year, buy the icing for the cake. Bake the cake this summer, add the icing next summer. Don't fucking buy the icing and don't bake a cake without baking a cake. That's what I think. I agree with you about Kane build a team, but I think some fans aren't interested in the politics. They just desperately want to win the league, says Joseph. We all want to win the league, Joseph. Thanks for the super chat there. We all want to win the league, but if you've followed this club as long as many of us have, you don't win the league from where we are by buying one player. You just don't do it. I can't think of a club in history that has been as far off the title as we are and bought one player and won the league. You just can't do it. And even if there was an example in history, that's not going to happen now. You've got to build a team. And we're the team. We're the club that over certainly throughout Ferguson years are the blueprint for that. You've got to build teams, and we used to go through transition. I remember when Rooney and Ronaldo came in. It took a couple of years to build that team to work, and then it was like we were prime for about 6 years. So build the team. And look, Liam made the point about Van Persie, but we lost that title on goal difference in the last minute of the season. That we were not nowhere near Man City. We were we were so close. You couldn't split us. They just won it at the very end. So we went and bought a striker. Logic. It's not logical for us at the moment. Build a team. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. We've got a road trip back this afternoon because Flex is on his way up to Old Trafford at some point, so we'll put a road trip. We've got a watch along. Remember, it's a 6 o'clock kickoff tonight, so 4:30 for the watch along. We'll be live. Lots to discuss. We'll also have the French national squad for the Euros coming out. Will Martial make it? So we'll be talking about that as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Thank you to Liquid One, who's one of our members. And can we loan Ahmed to Dortmund to lower Sancho's price? Says Saka. I mean, that's not a bad idea. There's lots of things we can do this summer. We just need to bloody do them. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. Obviously, very potentially very big summer window coming up, and you can get all the latest news and chat on the United Stand. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. I'll speak to you in a bit.